There we go.
Hey, we're talking about In the Lone Star Wars State. Up next on Geek Out SA.
Do not attempt to adjust your YouTube video. We control the stream.
And welcome back to Geek Out SA. It's Friday and we're having fun. I can say that today.
Yeah, well, you can say that with Alejandro because Alejandro's right there. Say hi, Alejandro.
It's been a while. We changed the studio setup a little bit.
Yeah, well, he got some new fancy cameras, so I'm trying to look over here and listen to you, and I can't even see him anymore. But it's a thing, so we're gonna try it out.
I was worried that Colleen was gonna sit next to me because I drank a lot of Red Bull, so I was like, oh.
So he's going to be fidgeting the whole thing. No, it'll be fine. So
you're going to premiere tomorrow.
Finally, can you believe that?
Finally,
Yes.
yeah. We've been waiting for it for a long
8
time.
years. Yeah. 2015.
Is it really been since 2015?
Yeah, it was. It's funny because the first time I was here was, it was I think August 20-something, 2015.
Mm-hmm.
We did the premiere for Sci-Fi Tonians, which was my first documentary. And then Sci-Fi Tonians didn't come out until September 6th, 2015. Now, I started filming at Force Friday, which was the global shopping event at Toys R Us Target for the release of The Force Awakens.
Right.
I started filming September 3rd, 2015. Sci-Fi Tonians hadn't come out.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll see that part in this movie. So, yeah, it's been 8 years. I could have had a kid.
Wow, it's been quite the journey, huh?
Yeah.
You know you don't like children, don't play.
I have 2 wonderful nieces and nephews.
I know you love them. That's good enough.
That's it. Yeah. So, yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
So what have you, what are some things what are some of the challenges you've gotten through to be able to...
We've only got 45 minutes, Alejandro. Cálmate.
Gosh, it's just, I don't know if you guys remember, but when I started this journey,
Mm-hmm.
it was going to be a sequel or a spin-off to Sci-Fi Tonians.
Right. Because initially you were calling it Sci-Fi Tonians 2.
Episode 2, The Fandom Reawakens.
Yeah.
And it was just going to center around the release of The Force Awakens in San Antonio, but it was going to involve, that other stuff. And and then at the time, financially, it wasn't there and stuff like that. And I just said, well, what if we expand a little bit? And then it just grew and grew. And I said, okay, well, I covered The Last Jedi. I was like, well, let's just cover The Rise of Skywalker. Let's just cover this era in fandom. And I went throughout the whole state, met with people from Houston, Austin, Dallas, little outskirt towns, and it just grew. It literally is. They say everything's bigger in Texas. Star Wars is no exception.
Right.
This documentary is no exception. Tomorrow, people will see a 4-hour version of the documentary. But when it comes out later next year, it's 6 hours. We're not gonna put out the whole 6 hours. Each week will be one chapter.
It's gonna come out episodically.
Okay. But it's not like a docu-series. It's an entire documentary, and it just has chapters, and it's just meant to be seen like that.
Nice.
So yeah, I'm excited.
Very cool.
And you guys are in it.
We are in it.
You guys remember when we filmed?
I do remember when we filmed.
September 2018.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been a long time since then, and I just remember us having so many conversations about this, and just over meals all the thoughts that we've had about the fandom and the different aspects of the fandom that you are going to showcase in your documentary, because we've been friends with Alejandro for a long time, and
we actually like hang.
Yeah, we do. So we've gotten the chance to really see what it is that you're doing behind the scenes, and he's kind of sent me some of the scenes as previews, and I've seen some things. So it's been nice, but so it's been really nice to be on this journey with you and have these conversations with you and talk about these different things. So it was nice that you liked some of the conversations that we had, and you're going to put that in the documentary. It was definitely.
I wanted you guys in this, and when I did my first length one, Sci-Fi Tonians, obviously I didn't know you guys, prior to like it releasing, but I was like, if I would have known you, I was like, I would have put you in there.
Yeah.
But no, it's just it's crazy. I think, I don't know, so many things have happened. It's been, Star Wars is a hero's journey, and I think one thing that I've learned is that in life we all have our own hero's journey, and we have multiple trials.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the beauty of life. And I think for me, throughout this experience, I've had my own hero's journey, and in a way, I've reconnected with things, my childhood, and old friendships that I hadn't seen since, like, some of them I hadn't seen since I was in 3rd grade when I lived in Puerto Rico. And because Star Wars to me is, like I say, it's a thumbnail to, or thumbtag to a very special moment in your life. What I remember about Star Wars is going outside, playing with my friends, going to school, elementary school. I wasn't born anywhere near 1977, I want to make it clear. But
calm down, sir. We were. Calm down.
My introduction was on VHS in 1996.
96.
I was in 2nd grade. But I remember, the beauty of it and going outside, and so it's interesting. It almost brought me back to. They say that only children can get to heaven, and there's something magical about being a child, because that innocence of, you're so optimistic, and you have issues, you get over them, and things get solved, and we become adults, and we, get consumed by the minutia of life. And so, having gone on this journey, forced me to revisit a lot of things, and I think it made me more aware and connected with myself, and just recognizing the beauty of life, and it's in the small things, and that everything always works out.
Yeah, definitely. So in this 8-year span, did you happen to use any new technology?
Oh my gosh!
That time?
Yes. I
mean, apart from like Sci-Fi Tonians.
Yeah. My editing style has changed.
Mm-hmm.
My editing style has changed. My storytelling has changed. I think. I got a drone. You see the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted people to feel like they were a fly on the wall, and feel like they are experiencing this. And so, it's a love letter to Texas, and so there's a lot of drone shots. The camera moves a lot. It's very fluid. The story is very fluid. There's a lot of movement, as opposed to when I did my other stuff. It was like an interview, and we're sitting down, and there's movement, but it's not like that. There's a lot of emotion in this too. We tackle some very, very heavy subjects.
Right.
Relevant to, I think, they're very relatable. But yes, it's my style has changed a lot, and it was interesting because you don't notice it. You make those micro adjustments,
right?
And then you're looking back, saying, "Oh, wait a minute." I look back at Sci-Fi 10, it's like, "Wow, that was horrible."
No, it was. Oh my God, no, it wasn't. Absolutely not. No, it wasn't.
But yeah, you evolved, yeah.
Very nice. So like equipment. Did you go through any new equipment using?
So we use several. I still use the cameras that I began with.
Yeah.
But we drones. I think also cell phones have evolved.
Mm-hmm.
There were things that I would not have been able to get with my regular camera. So I did use there's moments, you can't tell where they are, but there's moments where I use my phone. We did, I think one fun thing that I loved about it, we have some 4K stuff, gliders, gimbals, and one cool thing about this movie is because it's so long and everything is in segments, right? Each segment has an intro. Mm-hmm. And each intro is inspired by a moment in the Star Wars movies. And so we built these amazing sets, almost like exact replicas of the original sets. Mm-hmm. And so each segment has an intro. We did a trash compactor set for the Fandom intro, which is all the fan organizations. And that was fun filming in that. And then we did a cantina. We built a Star Wars cantina in Dallas.
I know, I was supposed to be in that one.
That's right.
He had sent me the picture and I was like ready. I was going to do the thing, and then I hurt my shoulder and had to get shoulder surgery, and I missed the whole thing, and I was like so sad. But you like really ramped it up with setting these scenes and getting everybody to come out there with you and really set us in the mood, I think, before we get into each of these chapters. So
it's fun. I think there's my favorite one was the trash compactor. Mm-hmm. It was 4 hours to film it. It's only 2 minutes, but it was fun because I wanted to recreate it as faithfully as we could to that scene in The New Hope.
Right.
And I don't like to do special effects. Like computer stuff. I like stuff that is like practical in the moment.
Right.
And one of the challenges was, how do we do the I forgot the name of the monster. The one with the eye.
The one with the eye that's in there, yeah.
So I was like, I would like to get dragged down by that thing. How are we going to do that? And so my wonderful friend Stephanie Dowd, we partnered together. She built the eye of the monster, and we built the tentacles. And there's going to be a documentary about that, behind the scenes stuff. And we figured out how to do it. So the thing actually grabs me by the leg and pulls me down.
Nice.
So that was exciting. So the intros are fun. The clothing is crazy. I've never I've never designed fashion before, and so a lot of the stuff that I wear in the movie is custom, for the story.
Right.
So that was exciting. So which fashion is another form of storytelling. So I was like, I don't just want to wear a t-shirt. I want, I was like, I'm Madonna.
Well,
not Madonna, but like, you got to put on the performance. You know what I mean? You got to put on that visual. So.
Well, and people really need to follow your Instagram so that they can see some of this fashion in play, because you've taken a lot of thought and put thought into this, and for the toys and that Kenner logo, and that punk jacket that you have. I'm just dead for that punk jacket. I love that jacket.
It was, so without the punk jacket became then a punk blazer, and that's what we used for the cantina. And you didn't miss out anything. When we were filming at the cantina, it was fun putting it together, but there was no air condition. It was in a warehouse.
Oh, wow.
It's in some pit place of Dallas. Not even the devil visits there. And
it was in the 9,000 degree summer.
9,000. It was an 8-hour shoot, and it's only a 3-minute segment.
And it's a 3-minute segment.
I was sweating, and we had to stop, and we had to stop every 3 minutes. And that night, I was going to stay in Dallas, and I was just so eager to edit, because it was just such a hard shoot.
Yeah.
And I drove back, got back to San Antonio at 2 a.m. I was like, I need to get home and edit and everything. But it's cool. The cantina is really cool.
Yeah, I bet it's really cool.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see it.
I almost sent it to y'all, but I was like, no, I want them to...
Yeah, we need some surprises.
Talking about sending us something.
Yeah.
You brought us a clip that we can play right now, so check it out.
Let me cue that up. I think
So, you've seen the galaxy far, far away?
Of course.
Okay, now you're about to enter a galaxy far, far away.
I have a bad feeling about this, but let's do this.
Well, this is it. It's been a long time in the making.
This is amazing.
It's been 4 years in the making, and it's finally complete. Once I started it, I couldn't stop.
I think everybody immediately gravitates towards the lights that kind of line the room. That's a real focal point of the place. Infinity mirror behind me. The infinity mirror has people puzzled for at least 10 minutes when they come in. They're looking at it and trying to figure out what's going on with it, and why it looks like that. And of course the hologram table, that's a pretty neat little thing to show people.
So I got a couple of pieces to show you in here. First one I'm going to start out with is right over my right shoulder here. This is actually me frozen in carbonite, not Han Solo. We made it out of plaster and fiberglass. A lot of mistakes that were made along the way whenever I was making it, but we held on to it and we made it and we finally got it finished. Panels you see around this thing, these are actually original casts of what they used in the movie. I added the shirt about a year ago because I couldn't figure out how to get the plaster to lay right whenever I had it, and so we ended up just saying, hell with it, we're doing it bare-chested until we can figure it out.
So that's Lance Solo.
That's Lance Solo. But anyway, he did actually score me 10 free tickets for me and my friends to go see The Phantom Menace 20 years ago when I built it. Over here we got Yoda. That's my son's friend. That's actually his, and he kind of has put it over here and hasn't taken it out yet.
Nice. So tell us a little bit about who he is.
So that's Lance Hathaway. He lives in Orange, Texas. It's about 6 hours. And he built this, but that's probably the nicest thing the town has.
What is it close by?
Gosh, I think you cross 15 minutes and Louisiana's right there.
Okay.
But no, he's nice. He's really nice. He's also one of the only nice things there. But he built this amazing home theater, and the crazy thing is that home theater actually flooded in 2017 during Hurricane Harvey. And the amazing thing was that he actually rebuilt it, I think twice, because it flooded several times. And I drove there 6 hours in 2021. We filmed that literally like in 2 days. I didn't sleep. But it was a fun experience because, again, like, whose dream, when I was a kid, that would have been my dream to have a home theater like that.
Right.
And his home theater has, he even has an arcade in there where you can play any and every game. And it was fun getting to film there. He's going to be here tomorrow at the premiere, so you guys will get to meet him.
Very nice.
But and again, another example of how Star Wars is bigger in Texas.
Yeah, it's everywhere. And I've been waiting for this to come out for the longest time, and we're so happy that we're in it, and we really am excited to see this tomorrow. So, and it premieres tomorrow at the Blue Star.
It's going to premiere
at the Brick.
It premieres at the Brick tomorrow at Blue Star. Doors open at 5.
Yep.
The movie's at 6. It's going to be a lot of fun. Get your tickets.
We put the link up on our Facebook.
Yeah.
You have it up on
have it up,
your Facebook. Alejandro, do you have the Urban Journalist?
The Urban Journalist is private, but you guys can go to
can't go
Instagram
Only we can.
at In the Lone Star Wars State and
It's on
go
his
to
shirt.
Eventbrite, or go to Eventbrite and search In the Lone Star Wars State premiere. And it's going to be fun. There's going to be a lot of people.
So can you tell everybody, so obviously we've seen this man who has his home theater, right? So what are some other things, you've been kind of dancing around and telling us that fandom is bigger in Texas, in the Lone Star State, right? What are some of the things like that we can get a little hint of from you that we'll see in the documentary tomorrow?
So we meet Chris Kelly. He is a toy collector from Dripping Springs. His collection is so big that he had to move from his 2-story home to the to the hill country in Dripping Springs. His collection is massive. He's like a Star Wars hoarder. We meet Chris Kelly, and the other cool thing is we get to. I mean, there's things that were filmed in real time, so you get to see in real time the release of a lot of each toy line from the sequel trilogy. So we are there at Toys R Us on September 4th, 2015 in real time. You see what the fans are expecting. You see what happens when they go inside of the store. We get to see The Last Jedi.
Don't give away too much, but we all know. I mean, we all know because we lived it, and so
there's drama, which was cool.
Right.
We see the toys release of The Last Jedi, but then we see what happens because I don't know if you guys remember, Toys R Us closed.
Yeah.
In June of 2018. So when The Rise of Skywalker came out, there was no place outside of Walmart and Target where these toys could be distributed outside of Amazon. And even though they did a Triple Force Friday, it wasn't the same because part of going to these events is you go there with other fans, you talk, it's an experience.
Yeah.
And so it was a very depressing Triple Force Friday for the Rise of Skywalker, and people were upset because a lot of the merchandise, as we see, was limited, was generic. I don't know if you remember, Grogu now is everywhere.
Right.
But this was a month or 2 months before Mandalorian premiered on Disney Plus, and there was rarely any merchandise for Mandalorian. They hadn't, because they didn't know what it was going to happen, and so people were making custom Grogu toys on Etsy. And because there was that demand, and Disney was sending cease and desist to a lot of these fans who were making custom Grogus, and Grogus were not available until May of 2020, which at the time were known as Baby Yodas.
Yeah.
But we see that we visit a really cool public collection in Austin, Texas called the Texas Toy Museum.
Oh, yes.
And we talk about the importance of the collecting segment is important because we talk about the importance of nostalgia and what it does and the importance of why that's relevant in everybody's life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Why we need to hold on to that. It's not about wanting to be a kid again. It's about what it does to the mind and how it reshapes everything and, because you get joy.
Right.
So we have that. And then we have the fandom groups, which is groups like the 501st Legion, Saber Guild, Droid Builders. We meet a guy, his name is Jesse, from Houston. He built a C-3PO. And the cool thing about his C-3PO is that he uses a software where he can animate this animatronic, and he can have it say anything. And so the C-3PO greeted me. And it was just,
wow.
It was so crazy. We meet Jamie McShann, who's one of the droid builders who built an R2-D2. We meet somebody who built the BB-8. And we meet this super awesome couple by the name of Tanner and Melissa King. He's military. He looks like
I remember we talked about it the last time of the show. Yes.
He looks like a GQ model.
Yeah.
And his wife is gorgeous too. And they gender swap.
Costumes.
He dresses up as Slave Leia. She's Han Solo. And they met through the fandom. And what I love about them is, again, my whole objective with this was to break those stereotypes of fandom.
Right.
And show that, it's anybody. So when you see Tanner and Melissa in the street, you would think that the guy was an Abercrombie model in the 2000s and that the wife was, the cheerleader. And we find out there's some things that happen. We find out, who they really are. That's a beautiful story. But we meet Heather Trupia, who yesterday they did a story about her. On
I was just going to say, yeah, that just came out on my essay about her using that in her classroom.
Did you read the article?
Yeah, and it's really endearing for me because if you've been watching, you know that I'm a school teacher. So, and I've had a slightly different experience than she has because I teach older kids.
Yeah.
And so I don't even know if I told you this story when we talked and you interviewed me, but I have a full Jedi regalia that I've worn to school before on May the 4th. Mm-hmm. And I taught middle school. So the first time I wore it, I was that beat up nerd kid growing up. And I was really scared to wear it even as an adult, you know, to wear it there. And some of the kids made fun of me, even as an adult. Yeah, these middle school kids made fun of me. And some of the kids were so happy because they were the nerds getting made fun of. And they finally saw somebody grown just owning that that's who they were, right? And so it was a double-edged sword experience for me. So it was nice to see that she's having success with it in her classroom. And again, her classroom's elementary, so it's a little bit different. But it's really great that she's bringing that in and using that to educate.
Well, and the effects it's had in her classroom, because she teaches at a Title I school, which is a low socioeconomic environment. Mm-hmm. And she uses it as a way, they call her a Star Wars teacher, and she dresses up as Rey, and she uses it as a way to promote literacy, but also to connect with the students. Right. And I thought that was their story is also really beautiful. She is also a Saber Guild member. Mm-hmm. And her husband, it's great because we also talk about how the fandom has influencer marriage and how as a couple they're doing things together, and we see how Star Wars really unites people from all walks of life, people from all generations, you know, all backgrounds. So it really is it's a beautiful, powerful story. One of my favorite parts of it is we get to meet a fan by the name of Daniel Fleetwood. In 2015, right before the Force Awakens came out, he had terminally ill a cancer. His final wish was to see The Force Awakens, and it was a month before the movie came out, and that campaign went viral thanks to his wife and his friends, and Disney showed up, and they showed him a 4-hour version of The Force Awakens. But we get to see what happened in that time in real time and what happened after. Ashley obviously was a normal person. She was not a celebrity. But because Force Lord Daniel was so viral and went all over the world, she almost became someone that was well known. And how do you deal with life when you're being judged at this point by every move you make, and people don't let you grow because they know you as this person, and she's the widow and she's this, and you know, she gets married again, you know, and other changes happen in her life, and you see how she managed dealing with all that. Her husband died, and it's forever associated with one of the biggest franchises of all time. So how do you move on with your life when you have that daily reminder of that? And so we see what happens, and we talk about grief and how do you mourn, and how do you evolve after something like that has happened.
Wow, that's interesting.
So it's almost like Oprah. I feel like Oprah. I feel like Oprah.
So has this experience working on this documentary and meeting all of these people, we've talked, you and I have talked before, all three of us have talked before about the gatekeeping that's in the Star Wars fandom. Do you find that because of this experience, you are less of a gatekeeper or more of a gatekeeper now?
No, I think fandom is something that it's about celebrating everyone and everything. It's almost like a language, right? And I hate it when people, and I've experienced that in making, not so much, but I experienced it in making this. You know, I remember there were people in some of the fan groups that I had reached out to, some of the costume groups, like the 501st and Rebel Legion, and most of the 501st and Rebel Legion, everybody's amazing, but here in San Antonio, there were a few people that I had reached out to that I wanted to, talk to them and everything, and I got that sort of, gatekeeping, sort of like, who are you? Like, you're not affiliated with Disney, you're not affiliated with Lucasfilm, we don't want to talk to you, sort of thing. So there is that. And fandom is oftentimes referred to as the elitist. That's what they call them.
Right.
But no, there is that. But believe it or not, there's a lot. There's more there's more unity in fandom than what we think is out there. And I think that's one of the beautiful things about it. I was thinking about it this morning. I've met so many amazing people. Many of them became really great friends of mine. And there's people in this that I don't agree with politically, that I don't agree with, that we don't have the same, we're not from the same generation. We don't have the same lifestyles or ideals, but it doesn't matter. We connected over Star Wars, and everybody's just been so kind and so supportive. And I feel like as a person and as an artist, you can't tell right now because I haven't slept. But I'm very, very grateful. I'm very, very grateful. There were so many moments where I almost wanted to give up, and
I know.
It was such a journey, and to get to this moment, it's amazing, and yeah, sorry.
No, that's okay. We've been rooting for you this whole time. So when people see it, they're going to be amazed at the storytelling. That for me has been the biggest part of this journey, is watching you tell this story and tell all of our stories and show how all of us are connected by this one piece of art that sometimes we don't even all agree on the piece of art, right? Sometimes we love it, and you and Vincent and I tend to be more like, I don't know, I thought it was pretty cool, I liked it, it was great. And other people are like, that was the most terrible thing, and we're like, really? Did we see the same thing that everybody else saw?
We see that. We have those discussions in the movie respectfully.
Yeah, right,
we
right.
have those discussions, and we talk about it. And there's a right way. You don't have to like everything that you see related to Star Wars. But there's a right way of doing things and having conversations, and but no, I'm very proud of it. I'm very, very proud of it.
So what's next for Alejandro? What is he?
For Alejandro,
snapping.
Gosh, so
it's snapping.
We will release this next year. It'll be 6 parts. We'll do a podcast. There'll be some other behind the scenes documentaries, and then after that, I have an idea of what I want to do next. There's 2 things that I'm thinking. It's not related to Star Wars, not related to fandom.
Yeah.
And the next thing would be I probably want to partner with either a studio or something, and maybe produce something for like Netflix or Amazon Prime. But it's either a feature film, like a dramatic feature film, or another documentary. So we'll see, but whatever comes next, it'll have the same passion and devotion and love that I give everything that I do. So
yeah, you can see it up on the screen every time.
Oh, thank you.
Every
Thank
time.
you. I hope you're not saying that 'cause
Even
we're
the
friends.
clips.
No.
Even the short clips that you send us, the stuff that you don't use, so you're like,
Yeah.
that's really good.
Well,
You know that now that we become friends, we just straight tell you the truth.
Yeah, but I love it because we have real. I think that's why we connected so much, because we would always have. I remember that one time where we sat down and we had this real conversation. It was December 2015. Now, okay, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something too. Like, it was a positive conversation.
Yeah.
We were talking about something. And it was great because I think that's where we really.
It was a positive conversation that we were talking about something negative.
Something negative. Not between us.
Not between us,
we
but no.
Yeah. So it was great. It was great. But
So I know you. I wanted to go back really quickly and talk about the fashion just really quickly, because that always fascinates me about you. I love the fashion. Can you talk to the audience a little bit about some of the different fashion looks that were created and how you kind of went about some of those and got to where you got to with those? Like, was it all the same person that helped you design all of them and create them, or how did that work?
So all of the 90, 89% of a lot of the garments that I wear in the movie were custom made. I had to design them from scratch. But of course, they were brought to life by my wonderful dear friend, Stephanie Dowd. There's a sweater that I wear that has like a Mandalorian that was made by my dear friend, Teresa Gonzalez, up in Kerrville. But everything had to be almost custom made with the exception of the accessories and stuff like that, because clothing like that doesn't exist. And I wanted to use fashion, again, as another form of storytelling. I wanted to use fashion as a way to further illustrate the narrative, but also to play with a lot of the iconography, because so much about Star Wars, it's not about what happened in the films, it's about what happened around the films, like the toys, the press, what was happening in our childhoods. And so there's a lot of things that we play with. I wear this beautiful red coat, which was inspired by the Topps trading cards from the 80s, that beautiful wax paper. And I discovered those cards during my research because I wasn't, born in 1980. And so I was like, oh, wow.
He could have come to my house. I could have shown him something.
I mean, wouldn't it be amazing if we turned this into like a coat? Yeah. And so,
it's fantastic.
And then there's this Kenner coat that I wear. Kenner was bought by Hasbro. But before Hasbro was Kenner, and they did some of the most amazing toys in the 80s and 90s, and we all remember that beautiful blue font. And we meet with I meet with a Kenner, one of the authors of a Kenner book in Dallas. So that jacket was I designed it. Stephanie constructed it. Next Day Custom Tees here in San Antonio screen printed it. And I was inspired by children's clothing and like children's rain jackets, and because I wanted it to be childlike, and so we did the Kenner logo all over, and then we did the Goonie bird. We embroidered it, and then Stephanie again. She doesn't just construct. Sometimes I trust her so much. I said, okay, give me your input. What are you thinking? This is my design, but what are you thinking? And all the time, it would always work out. Like she would always come up with something. I said, let's do this. And so she had the collars, she wanted to do them blue, and the pockets, we did them blue. And it has these big buttons. And then, of course, the Darth Maul jacket, bomber jacket.
Yes.
I wore to my interview with Heather Trupia. She's part of Saber Guild, so Saber Guild, they're either Jedi or Sith. And I was like, well, I want to wear my own version of Sith. And so I was inspired by, I wanted it to be punk, but collegiate.
Right.
And so it's a bummer jacket. It's made out of vinyl, and it's Darth Maul. And then I'm wearing like a black skirt with like leggings and studded Louboutins. And then another one of my favorites was, of course, the studded punk jacket that we wore to the cantina, which was it's inspired by the Rebels. And I'm wearing it because the cantina was where a lot of outcasts and outlaws were at. And that's the intro to the toy segment. And George Lucas was almost a rebel because, he had to fight so much for a lot of things in this movie. And he was anti-establishment. And he came up with the whole idea of licensing and merchandising and selling toys for movies, and that was very unheard of at the time. And so I'm wearing that jacket, and it's in the back it says Rebel Scum, and it almost looks like the Sex Pistols, but it's Star Wars themed. Yeah,
nice.
And so that was fun getting to wear that. And there's a lot of the beginning. Gosh, I'm wearing it when we open the movie. I'm wearing this long white tunic that an artist here in San Antonio painted a Darth Vader face. And I'm wearing these Tabi boots by Mason Margiela, because Darth Vader was inspired by samurais. And so that's why I went with that. And I'm wearing these cool vintage Chanel chain sunglasses, and I love it because Darth Vader had like a chain going over his cape. So it was almost like a subtle little. There's some subtle little nuggets for the fans when they're watching the outfits. There's things that every outfit was specifically thought of And there's a reason why. It's not like, oh, let's put this.
Let me just throw some clothes on, yeah.
And then I wear the super cute Chewbacca sweater. That was the first one. The first thing that Stephanie did.
Yeah.
And it's like a black crew neck sweater, and Chewbacca's almost like 3-dimensional with texture. Yeah. So. And
that's really interesting because it'll attract people that wouldn't necessarily go for the Star Wars part of it.
Yeah.
To look at the fashion part of it.
So that was one of the things. I knew Star Wars fans were going to like it.
Mm-hmm.
I was mainly interested in the fans that either have seen Star Wars and don't like it, or don't know anything about Star Wars, because the story really is about people, and it's about people in this time. It's about, everything that's going on, and the role that Star Wars plays in our society, and why we need things like Star Wars in our society. So it's not a film about Star Wars fans as we've seen it in the past, where it's like, hi, it's about people, and we get to see why these things are so important in people's lives.
Oh, so you mean it's not about like all of us living in our mom's basements or something? Is that what you're saying? Right. Yeah, because one of the guys that you showcase in the toy segment, he has basically like a whole hanger, right? The whole hanger full of toy, like he has a whole like warehouse or something. Like
Chris
it's
Kelly.
It's
yeah.
It's not a toy collection like you see behind Alejandro. When you go see the documentary, you're gonna see things that are gonna blow your mind. Yeah. Like you're gonna be like, these people actually exist, and they actually exist here in Texas. Like, are you kidding me? So I think just for that alone, people should go to see. You're going to get your mind blown of all of these different fandoms. You're not even going to realize that all of this exists. So if you want to become a part of it, you have all of these resources of people to talk to. You're going to see how it can be connected to all of this style and all these bomber jackets and all this fashion, and how you can have that connection as well. How it can be connected to your job, right? So there's just so many connections that can be made. I think people need to really, invest in the tickets and come out and invest in you and come out and see this documentary. It's going to be well worth it. You're going to learn an awful lot from it. I support this guy right here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So again, how they can go to the Eventbrite and buy tickets for tomorrow?
Go to the Eventbrite page and search In the Lone Star Wars State premiere. Mm-hmm. If you can't find it, just go to Instagram at In the Lone Star Wars State and click on the link in the bio and get your tickets. Tell your friends. It's going to be fun. I know Disney has, in some people's opinions, has disappointed a lot of fans lately with a lot of the content that Star Wars is doing. But I swear you will not be disappointed by this. This 8 years, so it's a lot of passion, a lot of work has gone into it. So I think you guys are gonna love it.
Well, very nice. Well, thanks Alejandro for coming and hanging with us. We
Always
appreciate it. We gotta do something again. Can't wait to see you tomorrow and then watch the premiere. It's gonna be awesome.
Yes.
But thanks for checking us out. I'm Vince.
I'm Colleen.
I'm Alejandro.
Geek at us, eh?
Everybody wave. Ah.